Alright guys, first of all, welcome to this Q&A where I will be interviewing the uPlexa team. The ticker is UPX and featuring today will be Kyle Pierce and Blake Anderson. Kyle is the founder and lead developer of the project and Blake is the lead developer of the e-commerce platform. I'm BiT SHaMaN. To give people a brief idea what myself and a dedicated team of traders and researchers do, we delve into mainly low-cap projects where we research and collaborate with developers, CEOs and various other team members. We then extract as much information as we can and put it into easy to read context, which we then compile onto various social sites. Please check the description of this video for those sites. The reason why we work so hard researching and collaborating is to increase the chances of our investments being successful, and not only do we get a chance to keep our investments safe, but we also get a chance to make more money by finding out how hard the teams are working, what they're producing, and trying to predict what the price actions are going to be prior to the release of news, announcements, updates, partnerships, exchange releases, and various other catalysts. So please keep in touch with our communities and subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we're doing all this work and spending all this time and effort absolutely free of charge. And we are also teaching people how to do their own research, which you should be doing as it's your investment, it's your money, so you should be making the decisions, not someone else. It never feels good when you invest in something and lose money and it wasn't even your decision to invest in it, you just copied what someone else said. So it's good practice to understand how to research to a basic level. We're going to be teaching people how to do that. We'll also be teaching people basic fundamental analysis, basic trade analysis, basic risk assessment and risk management, and also delving into the psychological side of trading, so you can understand how you think and how you react to your surroundings. That way you have got a better chance of surviving in the market, because if you don't understand how you feel and how you react to different situations and events, then you will never understand how you can progress in this market. And we can give you the basic tools you need to go down that road and open those doors. And it's not as hard as you think, but it does take a lot of time and effort. But with the time and effort we've spent combined, we are giving you the information free of charge. You can put to good use yourself, which will take the edge off the learning curve yourself. A lot of people spend years learning how to trade before they make any money. With the information we're providing, you can make money a lot quicker and a lot easier than the average person would, because you're getting a lot of information, but you've still got to put in the hard work and understand the basic principles that apply to your mental makeup. And we're all different, we're all completely different, so there's not one answer for everyone. We all trade differently and different approaches suit us differently. We can give you the answers and the different we can provide you with easy means of finding the answers, or at least easier. You can then apply these strategies and tactics into your trading techniques, and you can formalize new techniques, and I think it will benefit people a lot, and I think people will find it really handy and really useful. A lot of people spend years just drifting around, never really getting anywhere, and then they kind of look back and think, wow, what a waste of time. So I just want to help. We just want to help people, not just me. We just want to help people, together to the top and all that. So this is a UPX interview Q&A video, so I won't go on too long. But once again, check the description for links. Regarding uPlexa, for the last 5 or 6 months, we've been telling our communities how important it is to buy fundamentally solid projects with hard-working, transparent teams, and uPlexa is one of those projects. But combined with a low price, a fundamentally strong project with a hard-working team combined with a low price is a win-win, because it's only a matter of time before news and announcements push the price. If it's at a certain level and you can get in cheap, then you're pretty much guaranteed to make money if you're buying the right projects. But this is investing. It's not a quick flip shitcoin. We are investing. It can take time. Investments can take time to produce the goods. So please, you need to learn patience. A lot of people don't have patience, and I didn't have patience when I first started trading. I had to learn patience, and you do. Kyle, who's the founder of the project, I speak to on a almost daily basis. Kyle's a great guy. He works really hard. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this video, because I understand how hard Kyle works. So I'm not afraid to make a video for UPX, updating the communities. We suggested people look into CCX back in April. Since then, it did quite well, but the market's obviously had detrimental effects, as it has had with all projects in the low cap sector and crypto in general, I guess. As I said before, market sentiments change, they cycle, and you have to adapt to them. There's no answer, no quick answer, and no technique you just stick to. You constantly have to adapt and change your techniques to suit the market. So please enjoy the video, and once again, check the description for any links regarding myself, the team, and uPlexa. Please refer back to the YouTube channel, subscribe, and enjoy. Catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys. Okay, guys, thank you for your time today. We really appreciate you coming over and spending some of your quality time with us, giving us information on the project and sharing what you've been doing. Could I start with a question for Kyle? Could you please tell us exactly what uPlexa is and what you're aiming to do, please?
Thanks, SHaMaN. So, uPlexa is a private and decentralized blockchain, and it's powered by the Internet of Things, which is exciting because you can mine it on any device out there: mobile phones, tablets, Chromebooks, smart TVs, smart toasters, smart cars, modems, routers, you name it. Our project acts as a currency, obviously, and infrastructure for privacy-based applications. So, to put it simply, we aim to encourage or incentivize the mass computing power of these IoT devices to form a means of private blockchain payments. Now, of course, once we release Steadfast Storm in January, we'll also be providing private and decentralized application infrastructure to developers and startups and anybody else who would like to use our decentralized infrastructure. So that's the basic premises of uPlexa.
Thank you for that introduction, Kyle. I'm quite excited about aspects of uPlexa. I'm really bullish on privacy coins right now, and I feel like, well, a lot of experts are saying that 2020 is going to be the year for privacy and decentralization. So people really like privacy coins. People feel like they've got a right, that their transactions and their business is private. A lot of organizations are also bullish on privacy coins. They don't want their every move open to the public. And um, it's just going back to this whole, what I was saying earlier about understanding what people want and why, and you can really diagnose privacy coins, and people are they do appeal to people, so that's great knowing that uPlexa is built up of this privacy and decentralization, and both are going to be definitely appealing to people. Okay, next question, guys. How easy is it to mine uPlexa on IoT devices? like an Android, for example?
So mining on the uPlexa network is pretty easy. For example, with Android, if you go to uplexa.com/Android-miner, the instructions are all there. It's pretty much just download it, run it, put your uPlexa address in, and set the CPU threshold in your mining. This can be applied to any Android device, so Android smartphones, tablets, or Chromebooks, and you can also be doing things like mining with your Raspberry Pi, your Nintendo Switch, your desktop, your laptop, modems, routers, etc. You can find all that information on our knowledge base, which is kb.uplexa.com. Not only that, but if you go to our partners, Crypto Loot, it's crypto-loot.com, or I believe it's crypto-loot.org. And if you go there, you can actually mine through your browser, and it's a really seamless process. So when it comes to the simplicity of mining on the uPlexa network, that pretty much sums it all up.
What an easy way to make money. I can definitely see that appealing to people. I might have a go myself, if I'm honest with you. um, what I'll do is I'll leave some description. I'll leave some links in the description for that as well, so people can get easy access to those functions to mine uPlexa. So moving on, could you briefly expand on how the project was funded?
So we didn't do any type of ICO, IEO, or ITO, so we didn't do any kind of initial funding. We did do a pre-mine of 7%, which of course goes towards things like marketing, exchange listings, security audits, content bounties, the initial founders, and the core team as well. Now, that being said, we only pay the core team, a couple $100,000 uPlexa per week, which right now, if you were to sell that, would probably not be enough to actually afford your bills. So most of the people working on the core team right now are volunteers. Now, that being said, I'm actually paying Blake full-time to work on the e-commerce platform, and myself, I actually have some passive incomes, as well as I do some really, really part-time work when it comes to contracting for automation or general-based development. Now, that being said, we're proposing a new idea, which is going to be a community crowdfunding system. And it's really cool because the idea behind it is anybody can come to the community and propose an idea, propose a list of milestones, and how much it will cost to get it done. Now, if this is approved for funding, then anybody within the community can then fund that specific wallet address. And once the community believes that a specific milestone has been completed, then of course the funds will be released on a per milestone basis. So when it comes to funding, that pretty much sums it all up.
I love the idea how, in essence, the community has control of the wallet and they can release the funds when they are happy with what's been done. That is transparency on a whole new level in my books, and that is what that really appeals to me. If I'm honest with you, that's what I like to see: more control from the community, so the investors and community can can make more decisions and have more input, because when they especially have control of the money in some respects. So that's really interesting stuff, Kyle. Next question, guys. What has uPlexa accomplished so far in its 1 year history of mainnet?
Yeah, so we launched mainnet October 23rd, 2018. And that included our initial IoT algorithm, which was then followed by our improved proof of work algorithm. The first week was actually kind of funny because we witnessed a very minor attack on our small scale network at the time, which resulted in us doing a emergency hard fork to resist flash hashing attacks. So we implemented a linear weighted moving average algorithm, something our parent fork Monero has yet to do. So it's a little bit surprising. We've also released our Android miner, currently on version 3, as well as a Android wallet. We had to create like a bridge between the IoT miners and the pools to make them more efficient. So we created IoT proxy, which enables high frequency, low share validation and stratum communication to essentially optimize IoT based mining and to allow for a low power and efficient mining management environment. We also created the little dashboard for IoT Proxy, so you can point all of your IoT devices towards IoT Proxy with any of our miners, and you can track them all through one portal. We released the Electrolyte wallet, which is a super lightweight and user-friendly desktop wallet. This is, of course, separate of our standard GUI and our command line wallets. We released standalone payment integrations for WooCommerce, WordPress, WHMCS, PrestaShop, and OpenCart. We have standalone development libraries or APIs for Node.js, PHP, and Python. And I think finally our partnership with Cryptoloo, which is the most popular browser-based miner. It's being used by sites such as the Pirate Bay to provide profits to webmasters as an alternative income, alternative to advertisements or stealing users' data, which is pretty common these days. And I believe that covers our current progress for the past year.
I didn't know about the attack and the emergency hard fork. That's quite interesting, and I like the initiative that you used there. You guys have done quite a lot in the last year, to be fair, and I've checked the roadmap, and you've got quite a bit coming up in the next couple of months, Q4, and then you've got a lot coming in Q1, and it's a lot of big hitting catalysts. So I'm excited for the next 5-6 months, and then I'm excited again to see what else you've got coming after that. So that brings us to the next question, which is, what are you currently working on for uPlexa?
We are currently working on Steadfast Storm, which is to be released on January 1st of 2020. Steadfast Storm will enable PlexaNet, which is our anonymity network. And PlexaNet will be powered by utility nodes, which are essentially master nodes with a whole heck of a lot more utility behind them. That's the name, utility nodes. They're going to act as exit relays, much like Tor, but on the uPlexa network. Our idea is that we wish to incentivize node operators to set up nodes as they get dividends. They get 20% of our block rewards, opposed to proof of work, which gets 80%. Whereas Tor, for example, the Tor network, everybody who creates a node for Tor is doing it out of complete volunteership. So I believe it's a better way to decentralize the network by incentivizing users, as well as our proof of stake will also be used later to increase our transaction speed. So you'll also be able to create UN apps on top of PlexaNet, which are essentially private decentralized applications. So if you're a developer and you want to create a privacy-based application, and you don't want to deal with the overhead cost of infrastructure, or simply you just don't want to deal with all the networking, you can go ahead and you can create a UN app on top of PlexaNet. And the first UN app that we plan on building, which, by the way, anybody can make a UN app, but the first ones that we're going to build is a decentralized VPN on top of PlexaNet. Now, in 2020, we're also going to be doing some research and development on post-quantum or quantum-resistant technology. And we plan on implementing a post-quantum algorithm by Q2 of 2021, maybe Q1. On top of that, of course, we're also going to be releasing our e-commerce platform in the Q3 of 2020, and uBlitz transactions in the Q4 of 2020, which should enable near instant transaction time. One thing I forgot to mention earlier too was that we are actually and have been working on an iOS miner and an iOS wallet for quite some time now. So you'll be able to mine and use a wallet on your Apple mobile devices very shortly here. We plan on releasing that in the Q4 of 2019 here. But that's, I think that concludes what we're working on right now.
Cheers, Kyle. Yeah, so uPlexa's got a lot coming, especially in the next 4 to 6 months, and then with the research and development on post-quantum technology, then that's really also, I'm interested in seeing how that's going to work out for you guys and how far it goes, obviously implementing it onto the algorithm. It's really interesting. And I'm also very bullish on proof of stake. A lot of projects are implementing proof of stake, most notably, obviously, Ethereum, which I'm looking forward to them implementing proof of stake. And obviously, I really expect big things, and especially price wise, I'm waiting on the initial rally before. I think everyone's been highly anticipating and waiting now what seems forever to be delivered. You've also just previously mentioned utility nodes. How easy will it be to set up a utility node?
So it'll be fairly easy to set up a uPlexa utility node. It will require some very basic and general technical skills, like just knowing your way around a Unix operating system. Essentially, you're just going to be installing the uPlexa daemon, using the uPlexa command line wallet, and answering a couple questions, such as, how long do you wish to lock this for? Do you want to have automatic reoccurring staking so that it restakes at the end of the month? Do you agree to staking your amount for a minimum of 30 days? How much do you wish to stake? Which, of course, the minimum requirement is going to be 2 million UPX at first, which of course is going to decrease over time, just as our emissions do as well, which are block rewards. It'll decrease slowly, very slowly over time. Now, if you don't have that kind of technical ability, there's going to obviously be multiple masternode based services out there who can set up a utility node for you, and charge you some kind of fee or take a percentage of the rewards. And of course, if you want to join a pooled utility node because you do not have the full 2 million uPlexa, you can do that as long as you do have 25% of the required staking amount, which, like I said, at first will be 2 million uPlexa. So you would require 500,000 uPlexa, and you would get 1/4 of that utility node's rewards.
Cheers for explaining utility nodes. I've not got much experience with them personally, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of people on hand to help out the community. I'm sure we'll do our best at the Gem Hunters to help anyone out if they need it. And I think I might set a couple up myself. I'm just referring back there. You just spoke about the fact that you guys are working on a post-quantum algorithm. Could you just give us a brief explanation to why you feel that quantum resistance is important?
It's really simple, actually. Cryptocurrency's definition is a currency that is built off of strong cryptography. And there's a lot of people in the cryptosphere who obviously do not study cryptography and are not developers. And they keep saying, quantum computers is a buzzword. It doesn't exist. It's years away from existing. What's the point in implementing a post-quantum or quantum resistant algorithm? And well, I mean, if you want to offer the most robust and modern technology when it comes to cryptocurrency, you need to create, modern ciphers. You need to be using modern cryptography, and modern cryptography is headed in the direction of post-quantum algorithms. So this is something that's important. It needs to be worked on and addressed now rather than later. Sure, I would say right now there's probably no quantum computers that could technically attack our blockchains, but it's better to be prepared than having to deal with an attack and implement after which. So, when it comes to computers, for example, if you look in the 90s and you look at the computing power that we had back then, and now we have, computers in our pockets that are 1,000 times more powerful. And this is just, it's just a part of how it works with technology. The same thing is going to apply to quantum computers. The first general purpose quantum computer that's going to be available to the public, it's going to be very powerful. It's going to be a lot more powerful than our current computers. And another 30 years from then, it's going to be, 10-fold time more powerful. It's going to be crazy. So to say that we shouldn't be working on post-quantum cryptography is completely ridiculous, borderline asinine. So that's the reason. We just want to secure our network and continue to be a robust and secure cryptocurrency.
It's really interesting stuff, Kyle. I'm really bullish on the fact that you guys are working and researching so hard and pushing the boundaries, always pushing the boundaries. I know from talking to you myself that you're always trying to create and expand into these new areas. So it doesn't surprise me. It might, I think other people are going to get a real taste for who you are and what you're trying to do. But I kind of already know, so none of this surprises me. It's really good stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing how far you guys get with all this post quantum research and development. So I'll be keeping an eye on that and updating the communities on how far you guys are getting and what you're doing, and I'm sure people will be interested in hearing as well. All right, guys, I'm going to move over to talk about the e-commerce platform now. I believe Blake is the lead developer for the e-commerce platform. How did it all begin, and what made you and Kyle want to develop an e-commerce platform in the first place, Blake?
We've always been interested in making online businesses like chat sites, dating sites, classifieds. We've never lost interest in building these things. I ended up in a full-time position for a local company. Kyle went on to found what is now known as uPlexa. And one day he was back home and we had lunch and he brought up this idea that he's had for the longest time for developing an e-commerce platform. I'm always interested in consulting with him on how he would do that in terms of a technology stack. And he said that day, well, why don't we actually do it? I've always been interested in researching, implementing bleeding edge solutions in software. Kyle had this interest as well, but also interested in building SaaS business models, particularly in e-commerce. And he's had this idea for an e-commerce platform for at least 5 years now. And we both see it as a big opportunity to do what we're most interested in.
As I said earlier, I speak to Kyle almost daily, so I've heard a lot of the stories, and I know exactly how enthusiastic Kyle is towards building this little empire. I'm sure if you guys carry on working as hard as you are, you will achieve that. And whilst we're on this subject, guys, how easy is it going to be for people to set up a store themselves on the e-commerce platform itself?
Very simple. Really, all that's required is that you sign up and you now have a store. You can change themes, you can modify your theme, add plugins, add your domain if you wish. You can set up advertising pixels and just start adding products to your store. In reality, the functionality for a platform is essentially an enterprise approach combined with a smooth and simplistic user experience, whilst also being cost effective. Now, cryptocurrency payments will be 100% supported from the launch, as well as fiat payments, and we will incentivize users to utilize cryptocurrencies over fiat, and that's to reduce fees, reduce the chance of fraud and chargebacks, allow for a broader market, and in conjunction, it also makes it so that the user is in charge of their money, and that our platform is in no way acts as a middleman when it comes to handling their currency or their money, which also allows us to maintain a smaller team, thus smaller operating costs when it comes to things like financial processing, legal work, and just overall billing.
That's really interesting stuff, Kyle. I love how easy you've made it, and I love the fact that you're incentivizing people, not to use fiat currencies. That's always something that I'm looking out for with a lot of projects. Is projects that are really, incentivizing people to use crypto and to learn about crypto and to spread knowledge and mass adoption throughout the communities. So you've done a great little job there. So regarding the e-commerce platform, what are the general goals for the platform itself?
So, Blake and I created a singular shop-based system a few years ago when I was starting an e-juice business, which is a business that sells e-liquids for vape devices. And I wanted one I wanted to create one custom because Shopify and other platforms were unable to do everything I had wanted at the time. So after creating that and later working with other e-commerce based clients, I kept thinking, how fantastic it would be if we could offer this concept or make it, easily available to the general consumer or to the general shop owner, or just e-commerce gurus in general. So that's later, way later, what we decided to do. And our goals align with really what is missing or could be improved in the market of e-commerce, such as easier setups and management, more out-of-the-box functionality, while also keeping in line with user simplicity and offering cheaper costs. Now, we plan on offering cheaper costs due to really just using the most robust and modern technologies to scale our platform. And that's something Blake can expand on further.
What does the actual technology stack look like for the e-commerce platform?
We're going to be applying our software on bare metal servers and writing it in a way so that it can horizontally scale for every user store that is created. What I can say is we're really interested in Golang and the HashiCorp stack so far. In order, Nomad, Console, Vault kind of act like the scheduler, service discovery, and secret store that you have with a typical Kubernetes setup, kind of broken into separate services. In the front end admin area will just be a React SPA. The backend will likely evolve quite a lot over time until we launch, and then from that point forward.
Regarding Vendify, is is that a similar idea to Shopify? And if so, how do you plan to compete for that market share?
We're working to add the ability for users to integrate their Shopify themes. We've had expressed interest in e-commerce within our community chats. Initially, we'll be going after these types of users with cheaper prices, perhaps additional features that you'd usually have to pay for, and the base features like plugins as well as the WYSIWYG theme editor. I think it's important to realize with big tech companies that where they're essentially monopolies for these services so far, that there's still an opportunity to compete as a leaner entity, and you have the ability when you're starting to build a foundation on newer technologies.
I'm really impressed with how much you guys have put into this project and how far you've come. It's a real shame that the market has had such dire consequences, but as I said earlier, every project has felt the wrath of the market over the last 6 to 12 months, and it's only now that the best projects that, well, I say best, everyone's got a different perspective on what best is and what good is, but one one fact you will never get away from is, I've said it time and time again, is proof of work. And that is, the projects that are delivering and are putting the work out on time and keeping the investors up to date, being transparent. And the market should never affect that from happening, and projects should just carry on. That's what no matter what the market is doing, that's their job, and that's what they've signed up to do. So in my eyes, I'm behind all the projects that, and there's not many of them, sadly, at the moment, that are really keeping investors up to date and doing what they've promised. A lot of people seem to be losing motivation and morale in this market. And if someone is really passionate about what they do, no environment or surrounding or events should ever deter them from reaching those goals. And if events do deter people from reaching goals, then it is obviously not something that they really want to achieve and carry out. And it's under them circumstances where I am very skeptical on some projects that have stopped delivering, because as I've just said, then they obviously aren't interested in doing what they're saying. If small events and surroundings are affecting their commitment to the project and investors. So I really appreciate the time you spent here with us guys and updating the community on what you're doing. We'll be keeping a close eye on uPlexa and what your small team of guys is doing. You've got a lot coming up. Q4 this year, and next year you've got a lot coming. The entire year. With all the research and production that you guys are releasing. So I'm really surprised at how much your team is able to pump out. Compared to a lot of other teams which seem to have two or three times as many members and are releasing half the amount of work and updates you guys are releasing. It really shows how much people can do on their own. You don't need to have a massive team of guys. You just need to have quality over quantity, I guess. So thank you, everyone who's come and took the time to listen, and we'll be keeping an eye. Catch you later. Cheers.